And hello, Whovians, fellow all of you, one and all. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. Today we have special guests coming into our chats today. We got special guests coming online. We're going to be talking about Kasterborous. This will be their final convention that's going to be taking place June 10th through the 11th at the Holiday Inn and Research Park in Huntsville, Alabama. But we're here to... Oh, hi, me. And Melanie's going to be taking over your chats, too. So everybody say hi. Hi there. We're going to be talking about Kasterborous, the history thereof, what they're going to be doing as far as what's going to be taking place next month, and if there's any possible future for this convention that's been here for the longest time in Huntsville, Alabama. And we want to welcome the hashtag guru and all of you. Thank you for joining us here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. But first, let me go ahead and bring up our panelists right away. First of all, let's bring in the team, and we're going to start off with Mr. Nick Smith himself. How you doing there, my friend? Nick Smith Films are the hashtag over there. How you doing, Nick?
I am good. I'm appearing from Nashville, which is only an hour and a half from Kasterborous.
And you will be going to Kasterborous as well, right? Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I'm
awesome.
Excited about that.
Well, thank you, Nick, for joining us over there. You can check him out at the Cosmic Mask. You tell them the rest. I always get it wrong.
Yeah, so I edit a zine called Cosmic Mask. We do fiction, we do non-fiction, we do art, and it's free. You can check it out online.
There you go. Speaking of free and somebody else you can check out online, there we go. Segues are getting slightly better there. The lovely Mackenzie Floor. Yeah. Check out her streaming when she goes and plays games and does things live on her Twitch channel. Hey there, Faith. How you doing? Join us. Don't forget all you folks over there on the YouTube channel. Don't forget, as you can see scrolling on the bottom, youtube.com/The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We take your super chats and super thanks as well. But you can check out Mackenzie Floor after our show, twitch.tv/Mackenzie Floor, author of The Right of Wands, and the binge watchers. I keep wanting to slip in the Hitchhiker's Guide. The binge watchers guide to Doctor Who. How you doing there, Mackenzie? Thanks for coming out today.
Well, I'm hanging in there. I mean, I'm super tired. I had Mercy Comic Con this past weekend, so I slept pretty much all day yesterday, like no joke. I'm still tired. And then today my temp tooth fell out, so I'm like, come on.
I hate that. It's just like God's way of saying nah.
Yeah, this is how this month has been for me all month. I'm just like, come on, June. Let's get this month out of here.
I'll put myself on the screen, but if you look, I'm a little bit disheveled because I had a nice little shower thanks to Florida, because I had 2 doctor's appointments, and both of them on either side of the of town. One was in the east, and one's over by was a little further out from downtown Orlando. But I was just like, one needed a prescription for the other. They kept faxing the prescription wrong, so I literally drove all the way there in the rain. If any of you are in Florida, you saw that monsoon that was just covering Florida. Right now, we're right now water park. So I went over to the doctor, got finally the written thing, but by the time I had to go back over to the other side, the traffic and the rain was so horrendous, I gave up. I just gave up out of there. So maybe things will get better for you. And speaking of things getting better, let's bring in the lovely Melanie Dean, of course. How you doing there, Melanie? The Pieces of Melee on the Instagram. Check her out when she does her stuff live. Yep. Sorry.
There we go. I was
there
like, I'm still muted, sir. I'm glad that you said, speaking of doing things here, I'm thinking, I was worried about the segue. Honestly, I was worried about the segue. So yeah, doing well. Luckily it didn't get crazy rain over here on the Tampa Bay, St. Pete, Clearwater area. Not yet, but I mean, we hear it, so it's fun. One of the fun parts of being in Florida is you never know when a nice little band of rain's going to come in. For those who visit here and go to Disney and all the other kind of theme parks and whatnot, always remember, just get a poncho and never worry about it raining, because the second it comes through, in 20 minutes you'll be fine. It'll just become like a sauna of all the heat coming. The sun will come back out and start making all the steam come up off the ground. So yeah, you'll still enjoy your day.
Today it wasn't that. Normally, if there's a rain and it stops and it moistens the ground, it cools it off. So all that heat that was on the asphalt is rising up. None of that was happening. It just kept pouring and pouring and pouring.
Well, that's why we have weather forecasts, Christian.
I know. Well, I can't.
And we have umbrellas, really cool umbrellas.
Well, actually, worst part of it is the umbrella that I had was on the back side of the car, and it's like, well, either I take a chance to go outside and get my umbrella.
Well, that's always the way. We always do that.
Or just run into the building.
Because the umbrella is going to be in the opposite spot. That is going to be the umbrella is going to be awaiting you wherever your destination is through the rain. That's just Murphy's Law.
Speaking of Murphy's Law, because there's no segue to this team right here. Hello, we want to welcome our special guests. And speaking of Murphy's Law, there is an inside joke for this for Bonnie and her Wi-Fi, unfortunately. And I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, because Bonnie is also going to be razzing me throughout this whole thing and probably correcting 95% of the Whovians who've gotten it wrong, thanks to Colin Baker. I want to introduce you to fellow panelists, Matthew Cressell and Bonnie Otten. Is that correct? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Now, here's where they're going to correct me, team. Kasterborous.
Thank you. There you go.
That's an ER there. It's an A. Kasterborous. So for those of you who've been saying Kasterborous, the way that I've listened to it from Colin Baker during the Trial of the Time Lord, so where did you get the correction from, Bonnie? There you go. Contest everybody.
No, that's your other woman. When I watched the episode of David Tennant, when he says, "I'm a doctor, I'm 900 years old, I'm from the planet Gallifrey, from the constellation Kasterborous." That's how he says it, and that's where we got it. And like when you name a child and somebody mispronounces your child's name, you're going to correct them. So let me correct everyone. It's not Kasterborous. It's not Kasterborous. It's Kasterborous. Kasterborous. We got this?
Kasterborous.
Yes.
We also call it concave for short, because I've spent 10 years having the same argument about one.
Yeah.
I've been calling it concave forever, so it's just a lot easier.
Let's just do that for this whole thing, and then I don't have to correct anybody else. That's the mama in me that does that.
No, buddy, I want you to regret the whole episode. Everybody's going to say it wrong out there. So we welcome Bonnie and Matthew to the chats out there. If you have any questions, please go ahead and load them up. Let me go ahead and bring this up real fast. Hold on a second. Let's bring the share screen. And I want to give a little bit of a take of what's happening. If you're not familiar with Kasterborous, this is going to be their last year, their final chapter. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, this convention will be taking place June 10th to the 11th this year, next month. Holiday Inn Research Park at Huntsville, Alabama. And as they say in their website, we're all stories in the end, just make it a good one, because it was, all was the best. A daft old man who stole a magic box and ran away. This is only one of many lessons the Doctor has taught us, and one of many reasons why we had to come back. We needed to tell a proper end to our story. So come back and join us on June 10th through the 11th. Come laugh, share memories, hugs, and maybe even a few tears. But let's just make this a good one. So, Bonnie, why is it the last one?
Well, I have been running conventions in the Huntsville area for over 20 years, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I have no problem telling people I'm 65, about to turn 66 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And it has become more of a job than it has so much, running a convention. The weekend is great. I love coming and seeing everybody, see everybody hand stuff, all the business side of it. And that's what I've always said. And plus it looks like I may be moving away from the area this summer. So it just had to do it one more time. And to tell the story why, last summer, I was sitting drinking my coffee one morning and people kept tagging me in memory pictures, how much they missed the con and how much this was fun and that was fun. And it brought me to tears because I do miss the people terribly. I miss the fun. I miss the people. So my roommate is one of the other con chairs, and I sat there after I dried up the tears and sniffled in my coffee. And I said, well, Lori, you got one more in you? That's what I got. One more. That's it. One more. Because we had to cancel, 19 and 20, 19 for very personal reasons. 20, COVID came, and then I thought, okay, fine, I'm done. I posted a video, I'm retired. And then look what people did. They made me cry. They made me miss them. So we're going to do one more. We've really been calling it a concave reunion. Of course, new people are going to be joining us, but it's a reunion to get everybody back together. And the sad part is, over the years, we've been doing this since 2012. We've lost a lot of people that have passed away.
Right.
And we've got a memorial table that's going to be at the con. And when I started pulling all the pictures into print, I didn't realize it'd been 20 people.
Oh, wow.
So you never know who you're going to lose. And we want to make sure we get everybody together again so that, and this is one thing I want everybody to know. What I realized when everybody started tagging me in all these pictures, I'm not in these pictures. Anybody that's coming to the con, stop. If I'm not in the middle of something with a guest, stop me, take a picture with me. I want to make sure that you're tagging your memories. I want to be part of your memories. All of us con chairs. I noticed that most of the pictures people were tagging, none of us were in it. So that I hope that will happen this year and get the family together.
Now, getting into the convention that's going to be taking place in, I guess, 1 or 2 weeks, and very close out there. Let me show you our guest list. It's going to be
17 days.
17 days to be precise. Yeah. Oh, 17 days to be precise out there. Let me show you the guest list that's going to be there out there. Many are familiar with Eric and his wife, Eliza Roberts. They were both on the show just a couple of episodes around there. We're going to also be talking about John Peel, author. He writes Doctor. I'm not too familiar with his work. Tell us a little bit about John.
So he's been contributing Doctor Who fiction since way back in the 80s. He wrote the official Doctor Who and Dalek guidebook that was published in 1988, and actually novelized the last of the first and second Doctor Dalek stories that up to that point hadn't been novelized. So The Chase, The Daleks' Master Plan, Power of the Daleks, and The Evil of the Daleks. And when the Virgin New Adventure started up in 1991, he wrote the very first one.
Mark Robinson, our Candyman from the UK, he says, guys and gals, hey, guys and gals, while I impressed, both YouTube and Facebook are in sync. Oh, my God. I don't know how. I don't know. They they fire up the Evinrude and they finally got things going. And speaking of which, things going, I'm going to go ahead and make the announcement, Melanie. And Melanie is going to be happy that she's going to be hosting our next guest, Kelly Yates. Artist Kelly Yates is going to be joining us June 6th on the podcast. So, and Melanie will be hosting that particular episode.
Woohoo!
And so this is going to be all.
Just a little backstory. Kelly Yates has been with us since year 1. He was our very first guest in 2012. We call him Uncle Kelly. That's what I talk about, a family reunion.
Yeah, you want to see
Kelly's
something
coming home.
Scary, Melanie? There you go.
There you go. That is awesome. That's 2012. You look at his badge. That's the very first year.
When he didn't look like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Can I tell you a little cute story about this?
Absolutely.
Of course.
When we were looking for guests our first year, we didn't have a clue. I mean, I helped my daughter run an anime convention for 9 years, and then she got an acting job in Atlanta, moved away. Mm-hmm. A guy came into that last anime convention dressed like the 10th Doctor, and that's when I asked my friend Lori, maybe we should try that. So we started Doctor Who convention. Well, we didn't have a clue who to invite. So we invited Stephanie Osborne. She's worked out at NASA, worked on the space shuttle, I think, but NASA. And then we got to looking at other conventions, and I thought, an illustrator would be good. So we picked Kelly Yates. And when I saw his picture as a woman, I went, oh, yeah. So we go to pick him up from the airport, because it's the one thing we do that a lot of conventions don't do. We personally go to the airport. We're who they see when they get here. Is the promoters. We don't send somebody for them. So we're standing, if you've ever been to the Huntsville airport, which you probably never have, you have to stand back here in an area, but you can watch them come across the top and come down the escalator through security to you.
Oh, okay.
So Lori and I are standing there, and I look up, and I'm smiling like this, but what I am saying is, oh God, please let that be him. He's so pretty. Please let And he's so pretty. He's so pretty. And he come down the escalator and he waved, and I go, that's him. That's him. So, but yeah, he's been with us. He had to miss 1 year for a personal family thing, but that's Uncle Kelly. And we're so excited about having him back. But yeah, he has a t-shirt that he wore at Pensacon that says he is John Wick's stunt double.
Yeah, if you
or something to that effect.
I love to see this man in action out there. So,
it's been hard.
Okay, Melanie, let's go for the chat.
In 2012.
Stephanie is way cool. I wrote an album for her.
Mm.
So that's our good friend Dan. And don't forget to check him out on the Last Man Standing on his podcast. We want to say hello to Andrew. And who else we got in the chats? I saw some people popping in and out there.
I've already had them all.
Okay, cool. I see Fall 13, Ma'am Nerd. Ma'am Nerd? Who's that?
That was 10 minutes ago.
Smile and nod. Yeah.
That was 10 minutes ago, and that's my post.
Gotcha. And Grant G says Dr. Freedom rules. Okay, well, there you go there, folks. Speaking of ruling, we're going to go get to a commercial break. When we return, we're going to be going back into the history of Kasterborous. We got some pictures to show you and what the future holds for this convention. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and become part of the legend. We will be right back.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
Oh, brilliant! It's hard to believe that in the 56-year history of the greatest sci-fi television show in the English language, there has never been a fan guide to Doctor Who. The official books might give you what they think you need to know, but only a guide written by a true fan will give you what you really want to know. Join Whovian, the brilliant Mackenzie Fleur, as she takes you on an intensive journey inside the world of the first female Doctor. In the Binge Watcher's Guide to Doctor Who, Season 11. Right, let's get a shift on.
I know who Mackenzie Fleur is. I mean, really?
We are a touring acoustic duo crashing kitchens around the country. We go from house to house every Friday night, and we create music, we create food, a good time, we stream it live, and we do it for free. So now we're just really kind of like trying to develop it and build a community group that people believe in, then they'll help us. So we played from our rehearsal room, we played from the bathroom, thankfully that didn't catch on.
I probably played guitar in my room, not for anyone, in front of anyone, nobody heard, for probably about 10 years.
And then one Friday night, we played from the kitchen. It's the main place people want to be. It's where the food is, it's where the drink is, it's where the best lighting is. You can go to any party and I guarantee you, the kitchen is going to be popping.
Our ultimate goal, I think, would be to crash kitchens every Friday all around the world.
Here's ones, but you can't over the head one, but you can't do that with two people.
Hi, Matt. Welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. We have a special guest, Bonnie and Matthew from Kasterborous. One last ride throughout the Whoniverse. You can check out their Facebook page and purchase tickets and get information at Kasterborous.net. That's Kasterborous.net. You can see the spelling on there for those who are listening to the radio show. I'll CONKASTERBOROUS.net there. Welcome there, folks. This next 2 weeks from now, in 17 days, this will be their last ride. My name is Christian Basil. Welcome back. Woohoo! Let's throw that back in there. So we're going to be talking more about the history of Kasterborous, and we will be talking about the future, what the future may hold for Huntsville, Alabama out there. Mackenzie, did you have any questions for the team up there?
Well, goodness, you put me right on the spot there.
Absolutely, that's how this works.
So, I guess we'll go like this. Who's your doctor?
Who's your dad?
Oh, well, my doctor is the ninth doctor because we had a friend back in 2011 come over and said, there's this show you should watch. And the first episode I ever saw was The Empty Child. So that was with the ninth doctor and Captain Jack. And of course, I fell madly in love with Captain Jack because, you know, he danced on the clock tower with Rose and he had that long trench coat. And yeah, there you go. That's one of our versions of Captain Jack at our convention. But yeah, the ninth doctor. And then finally, after all these years, I got to meet him a couple months ago at Pensacon. And he couldn't have been more charming. And as far as Captain Jack Harkness, I have had the pleasure of working for him at Dragon Con 2 different years, running his table. So yeah, it's been my dream since 2012 to have him as a guest. And here we are.
That's great. Mark Robinson, Auntie Bonnie, how did you start the con? And would you recommend other people to do the same? Yep, that's the question everybody wants to ask. How do you start? Let me back it up just a slight bit. What was the influence to bringing this up?
Okay, the thing was, my daughter at 14 years old came home from a convention and goes, "Mom, I think I could start a convention." Said,
at 14,
okay, okay, and we're talking about she's 30, about to be 37, so we're talking about years ago.
Dang.
And I said, I tell you what, go on the internet, ask your friends if they will come. See how many people would be interested in coming. So we saw a need for it. And the first year, I think we had like 125 people. The next year, 300. The next year, 400 or 500. Next year, it just grew and grew and grew to where we did it for 9 years. And then, like I said, she got an acting job, moved off. And we saw that doctor dressed as a doctor, and we started this one. By then, I had gotten the flow of running conventions, where you go and what kind of questions you ask. And there's little things we found out along the way, and you learn something new every day. Every year you start planning one. I mean, one of the biggest things we found out, like the third year, was the badges that we print for people to wear. Now, granted, I print those and I tear them apart to perforate it. But those badge inserts and the badge holders, you can get free from your local visitors bureau.
Oh,
so wow. They're saving money right off the bat. You know, just little things like that you find out along the way that, you know, somebody will mention, well, you know, I noticed that Chicago TARDIS, we'll explain that one later, that they do this or they did that little something. Well, that would work here too. And, you know, Matthew can tell the funny story of, you know, what happened with him not being able to shut up.
Yeah, I can tell that story. So I came involved with the first year very, very late. And actually, I answered a message on the Facebook group, which is still going to this day, asking for somebody with classic Who DVDs. Would they be willing to come in and loan them to the con for the viewing room? And I said, well, I've got a pretty big collection. I'll do that. And then it became, well, does anybody want to actually run the room? Because we were only doing it one night. And I said, well, if it's my DVDs, I can sit in there and do that. So, and from there, after that first year, and it was clear, I mean, we had like 500 people show up that first year, which was staggering. But we had our first meeting for the 2013 con. And I was over the moon, very enthusiastic. And I had been going to Chicago TARDIS since 2008. It's a very well-run con. It's a great con. And it was so exciting to have one close to me. And talking about how things could happen and whatnot. And I kept using Chicago TARDIS as an example when things would come up and say, well, here's how they do things up at Chicago TARDIS. It reached a point in future meetings I was banned from saying Chicago TARDIS. I think we substituted the euphemism for a while of that con up north.
We even when he finally gave us his phone number, we even put him in our phone as Chicago. That's what we called him in our meetings with Chicago. So that's how Matthew got involved. And then our third year, when we decided to bring Sylvester McCoy. Now, Matthew hasn't told yet that's his doctor.
Yep.
And should I not tell the story?
I mean, you can tell the story.
We'll tell the story. We had a con meeting, and I had already signed the contract, so I knew who was coming and nobody else knew. So we're sitting at the table, round table, you know, and we're all chit-chatting about the con. And I said, oh, I signed a contract today. We're bringing our biggest guest ever. And I did not notice that Matthew had took a sip of his Dr. Pepper. And I said, we're getting Sylvester McCoy. You talking about the best spit take ever in the movie. It went everywhere just out of pure excitement.
Worth it.
And across the notes I was reading from across the table, 3 or 4 people, you know.
I ruined somebody's Taco Bell that they had sitting on the table. They were eating while we were having the meeting. I've never lived that down.
And everything within a 10-foot radius.
And then we had to keep him. He embarrassed himself terribly. We just had to keep him all these years. And one of the funny things is Colin Baker, after he was here, he was telling me, because I meet with the guest on Monday morning before they leave. We keep them here till Monday so they have time to rest. And he was talking about the con and the way it's run. He said, you know, I've noticed, I've been all over this world and I've never seen a con run like this. He said, you people think with your heart, not with your wallet. And he said, I think it's because it's run by women. Well, there's me, Lori, Jen, and Matthew. So when he said that, of course, I had to laugh. And I go, yeah, Matthew's our little sister. You know, just joking with him. Well, he just thought that was probably the funniest thing ever. But that's the one thing he did say. He had never enjoyed a con so much because us as con chairs, the four of us,
Mm-hmm.
we are there every minute. I mean, a lot of promoters, they bring their guests in, and I've been told this. I'm not saying this just against any promoters, because guests have told us they bring them in and they never see the promoters again, or they never even see them.
Yep.
You know, they have handlers. Somebody takes care of them. They don't even know who runs the con. Well, that's not us. We're there in your face. We want you to know we're there. If something goes right, we want to know it. If something goes wrong, we fix it immediately, kind of thing. So, yeah, and Matthew was just an amazing addition to this staff, because he's something. He's like my son. So, you know, and I have a lot of kids at this con. That's what I tell them. When I was helped running the anime convention, I was called the con mom.
Mm-hmm.
And several of those staff members came along with me when I started the Doctor Who convention. So it was, But,
gotcha. Let's get some chats in here. Andrew Morris, what kind of seed money do you need to run a con with a couple of big name Doctor Who actors? That's a good question.
Okay, Andrew, let me tell you first, you don't start with the big names, because that's what I said. Our first couple of years of most conventions lose money their first couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
That is, we didn't. Now, granted, after the first con, we only had about $500 left over, but everything was paid with made money, and a little more after that, because, about the first year we expected 200 or 300 people. We had over 500. The next year we said, well, they'll come back and bring a few. We had over 1,100, and then the next year 1,300, and then the year that Paul McGann was here, we brought Paul McGann, the Doctor, Eric Roberts, the Master, and the Master's wife, Eliza Roberts, from the movie, and we had 1,750 people. So it jumped. I mean, it just grew every year. So, Andrew, you don't have money to start one, but you can also go and get sponsors. If you ahead of time, if you say, okay, well, we've never had sponsors. One year Haven Comics sponsored us, but we've just never asked. We just let the money roll over from the year before. So you start with minimal popular guest, because most guests have a guarantee, which, this is all very business talking. The certain amount they have to make that weekend. Well, if you can't guarantee them, say some guest is $20,000, they've got to make over the weekend with autographs and photo ops. And if you don't think in your head, well, we're only going to have 500 people there, this person's not going to make 20,000, then don't invite them. But what you do is you decide where you want to have it. And the first year we knew it would be small, so we started with the Holiday Inn. And sure enough, that first year, a little over 500 people was comfortable. The next year, when it was a little over 1,100, we had to move to the Westin. But from that second year, we had money left over to put a deposit on another hotel, that kind of thing. So it's you don't start big, you grow from big.
He continues, so you rely on ticket sales?
To a point, yes. I mean, it is very much ticket sales as far as the seed money to start up front. The first year, I took money out of my own pocket to put deposit on the Holiday Inn. But as ticket money came in, I could pay myself back. But you have to start somewhere. And like I said, if you start it small, you can only go up from there.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's the mistake that a lot of first-time conventions make, is that they go as big as they possibly can for their one. And understandably so, you want to make a splash. You want people to come. The problem with that is, and we've seen this actually with Doctor, at least attempts, shall I say, of Doctor Who conventions in other states. There was one where they were trying to bring 2 doctors and 2/3 of the Paternoster gang and Winston Churchill and Caitlin Blackwood, who played little Amy Pond. And the thing folded a month. The con never happened. It folded before it happened. And I don't know for sure, but I would suspect they didn't have enough money to pay the bills. And I think what you do is you start out, as Bonnie said, with sort of minimal guests. Appearance fees are wide ranging. You go from people who are a couple of $1,000s or so, all the way up to $50,000 or $100,000. I mean, I know people who've paid less for houses than they've paid for the appearance fees for some guests, but that's the business side of it. But the advice that we sort of came out of with our experience was, you start small and you build up. It's a lot easier to build up to something than it is to start with a bang and then spend the rest of your life paying the loans back.
Exactly. And there's a I won't say who they are, but there was a couple who started their own convention, and it was such a success. They threw the lever into overdrive, when they first started, they only had like no celebrities, nothing spectacular. They themed it right, and they made out like a bandit. And next thing you know, they're throwing the lever, and they're like, well, they got 2 Star Trek celebrities, somebody from Rocky Horror, and then they were bringing in guests, and it killed them. It really, I think it's also, you have the temptation that you want to be the big one out there. And a friend of mine who works at conventions, he said to them, you have to think on a level that money is gone, that it may not come back. Could you lose that money ahead of time? Would that be a good advice to somebody who's probably starting a convention to say, hey, you could lose this? Yes. So you sure you want to lose this? Because once you lose this, there's a chance it's not coming back.
Well,
and you're paying for more.
There have been several people
I'll get to you after in a second.
Come to me and ask me, how do I get started? I want to start this kind of convention. How do I get started? And so I have helped start up 3 or 4, I think 4, and only one of them is still going. It's not what I did. Mm-hmm. Is, I helped them get that started and tell them, this is how you talk to an agent. This is how you talk to a hotel. This is how you do this or that. This is what we do. And I always say, this is what we do. If it doesn't work for you, try something different. So only one of them is still going. It's very large, and it's very, very, what's the word? Popular.
Yeah.
Huge, popular. But this person came to me years ago and just, I was thinking about starting a comic book con. What can you tell me? And then I was meeting with that person about once every 2 weeks and this and that. And I gave them blank contracts. And I will always, anybody comes and asks me, I will always help. I will always help them and answer the question. Now, what they do with it after I tell them is on them.
It sounds like that this individual had actually heeded your advice and saw it for, what it was, and going, okay, this person has gone through, knows what they're talking about. I need to be paying attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I wouldn't even go big yet. You would probably just, 2 or 3 small cons, accumulate that money, invest it somewhere, and then start getting in position to where, okay, now we're going to have, we're having our first big celebrity here at this convention. So.
Andrew's saying something that I've been asked and told to do several times. You should do a course or book of how to do conventions right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have seriously considered, and this is consideration, not that I'm going to do this, but that once Kasterborous ends, helping be an event planner. Helping anybody can come to me now, but I'm a little busy trying to get this one going. But I will always, and we'll let this little secret out. I have a group of people that want to take over this con.
Ooh.
Maybe not next year, but the year after that, and call it a regeneration.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I love it.
So now, if I told him I will be very particular who I turn this name over to.
Wait a minute, Bonnie, hold that thought. We're going to go ahead to commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk about the future of Kasterborous. So let me hold that thought. Let's go ahead and go to commercial break. Kasterborous. I will get it right eventually. Not this year, but next year, possibly.
He still hasn't learned that this is why you keep sticky notes.
When we return, we'll be continuing talking about the possible future of Kasterborous, its regeneration. But you got to stay tuned after the commercial break. Here we go.
I didn't name any names.
Hi, my name is Jamie Engel, critically acclaimed author of The Toilet Papers, Places to Go While You Go. A short story collection suited to match your bathroom needs. Only have to go a little? No problem. I've got stories under 1,000 words for you. Far from poopin'? I've got you covered. with stories over 5,000 words to keep you occupied, while your latrine stays occupied. And that's not all. The Toilet Papers is endorsed by the fine folks from Squatty Potty, the stool for better stools. But don't take my word for it. See what Dookie the Squatty Potty Unicorn has to say on YouTube. You won't be disappointed. Well, I've got to go, but you can grab your copy of The Toilet Papers on Amazon in ebook or print, or get an autographed copy from me at therightangle.com. And don't worry, I promise I'll wash my hands first. The Toilet Papers. You might just stay in the bathroom longer than you need to.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
Welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil, and we are here with the guests from the showrunners from Kasterborous. And you can check them out and purchase your tickets now because it's only 17 days away as if you're watching this live. What is going on here? Oh my goodness.
It's not focusing, but yeah, see?
Thank
you, Melanie.
Important for sticky notes, dude. Come on, man. Step your game up.
I got it. We're here with Matthew and Bonnie from Kasterborous. And later on in the after party, well, I didn't bully in. I'm sorry.
Well, I wasn't going to jump in on this stream. I was just putting notes in our private chat.
Fine,
okay.
bye.
Later on,
well, I'm here. I can stay.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Bonnie, that's why you don't give
Hi, Dave.
to anybody.
Yeah, pretty much. Hello. No, I was just saying. I just set up a separate studio for the after party for Worlds Apart over on Twitch.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to our party.
So I'll be over there. TLTT will be over there, and I don't know if Mackenzie, are you going to come join us on playing Worlds Apart?
Yeah, I'll come and join. Yeah, why?
Okay.
Why not?
I have it set. If you want us to add in your Twitch stream, I can totally do that. That's easy.
Just in case you forgot, Melanie Dean, I've got Nick Smith. Now we've got Dave Chapman, and later on yet in the after party, we'll be playing Worlds Apart, so you can get an idea of how the game is played, because later on we will be doing some stuff with the team out there. Mark Robinson, disappointed Melanie was that Buccaneers sticky note. Oh, wow.
And I'm from native Tampa Bay.
Hey.
So what you talking about, Bears fan from the UK?
Dun, dun, dun,
The lovely
dun.
Mackenzie Fleur over here, and Nick Smith from the Cosmic Mask. Of course, we're going to continue on. Bonnie was just talking about the future of Kasterborous, but before you jump into the future, can we go into the past just a little bit more, because you got some awesome pictures that you sent me, and we want to show everybody the great history that took place at Kasterborous. I want to start with this one because let's buy Christian sticky notes.
Hey,
Yep,
Christian.
there you go.
Hey,
There's your
Christian.
super guy right there. Yeah.
Christian,
Yes.
call it Concay before I
will call it
lose my
Concay.
mind.
There you go.
Yeah, that way they don't have to
Okay.
keep on correcting you.
Well, let's get back to Concay. Got some great pictures from Concay. Tell us a little bit about what we're seeing right here.
Okay, this is Dalek Braun. Our wonderful friend Wayne Newmeyer built him for this convention our second year. The first year we pretty much had a cardboard TARDIS standing on the stage. That was it. So he built Dalek Braun, and Dalek Braun runs around the convention and he'll sneak up behind people and exterminate them.
Oh, no.
Or that's what he does. It looks like he does, because as soon as he says exterminate behind them, yeah, they disappear.
And apparently checking into a hotel. So
yeah, that was at the Westin.
That is nice. And I'm assuming you upgraded to a bigger TARDIS.
This was our second year. Somebody on our staff, we had someone supposed to be building us a TARDIS, and we found out a month before the con he had not even started on it. So one of our con staff said, my husband's good with woodwork, so he built this in less than a month. And the front door opens, and it has Bluetooth in it, and
in a month
it has a little box that you can set that when we were having the dance, it would pulsate to the beat of the music. So, but
it is signed. We've had it signed by most of the guests we've had since then. Somehow we miss Sylvester McCoy. But
how dare you, Matthew?
I'm
a hero.
Ask him back.
Hey.
But it's been signed by the other three doctors we've had: Eric and Eliza Roberts, Neve McIntosh, Catherine Stewart, Gareth David Lloyd,
Mark Shepard.
Forgot Mark Shepard, and the four of us. So yeah, it's.
And I have to tell you a funny story about Eric Roberts signing it, because he was the master over Paul McGann's doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He came into the TARDIS, I hand him marker. He goes, "Where did McCann sign it?" And I go, "Right there on the window." He goes, "Hang on." He wrote it above him and put "the master" over Paul McGann's name. So yeah, that was just our cutest. I retired and said I was no longer doing this, we sold the TARDIS, and it moved to Texas.
Okay.
I put it up. I thought, well, I'm not going to do this anymore, and it is sold in Texas. So,
here I was thinking you could pull a panel off and get McCoy to sign it, but nope. The lucky owner of the Texan who owns this now, he can deal with it, or she.
Somebody said something about taking the autographs out before we sold it, but the thing is, they are signed on the plywood. I mean, it's blue inside. They're signed on the plywood and on the windows, so we wouldn't have took it apart. We didn't have back doors on it the first 2 years, I guess.
Think it was 2 years, yeah.
And then they put 2 doors on the back, and it weighed 650 pounds. But it has a perfectly built trailer that towed it, and rollers to put it on and all that. But yeah, that was our baby. That was the heart of the convention.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
honestly, the second you said that, he knew some woodworking, so he did this under a month. I'm like,
yeah,
that is a master carpenter.
Melanie, when she was sending me pictures of it being done, he would works too, and he would come home from work and work on in the evenings, and she was sending me progressive pictures, and I was just going, what?
So he was doing this part-time in his free time after 9 to 5, 10, who knows, 10-hour day if you're commuting and all that.
He's still available? I would like a. I need one too. Well, I got about the smaller one that I have that I carry around there where the bottom fell out. Long story. But I decided that I wanted all the doctors to own my traveling TARDIS. So I took the blue little piece, which is just a piece of plastic that fell out and won't go back in, and I wanted to get it signed by all the doctors. The first doctor, of course, is Paul McGann that I meet. And I said, "Paul, do me a favor, sign this small so I can get all the doctors in." What does he do? He takes the marker and practically signs the whole thing across. And I got livid. I said, "Paul," and he just turns to me and goes, "Shh, my TARDIS."
Okay, now you know why Eric Roberts had to step above him and sign.
Exactly.
Had to take his place.
We got some competition right here. And speaking of which, this is not my first Doctor Who wedding, but this looks absolutely gorgeous. I love it.
We've had 2 Doctor Who weddings. Our second year, a guy came to me and pulled me aside and said, "Do you mind if I propose to my girlfriend in front of the Dalek?" I go, "Oh, please do." And that was in 2012. We ran into them about 2 years ago. They're still married, got 3 kids, and couldn't be happier. And then this young couple have 2 kids, and they will be back for the con. So, and then we had Charles Martin and his wife got married. We've had 2 weddings, and Dalek Braun is a ring bearer. Do you see the pillow on his hand?
Yeah, I did.
He's the ring bearer.
Yep, he sure was.
And we held it in the main room, and with the permission of the bride and groom, cosplayers were invited to come and be part of the wedding and to sit in with it. So it was something of an experience to see.
That's awesome.
And I'm not sure if I sent you the picture or not, Kristen, but when they were taking the pictures with Paul McGann, the photo ops, he was standing in the door of the TARDIS. Well, one of our staff members' wife was about 8.5 months pregnant, and she stepped up there and she was standing sideways. And I go, now, wouldn't it be cute if the doctor blessed the baby? He reached down, put his hand on her belly, and that's her photo op.
Wow.
She did have a little boy and didn't name him after Paul.
No, that's not the one. I'm sorry, but I do see a Paul McGann stand-in right there.
Okay. No, that right there. I was trying to take a picture with Jason Haig Ellery, and it was right after breakfast one morning. And when I got the picture, the picture from my view as Paul is between us, somebody else took the picture from him on this side. I mean, the thing is, when the guests here, they come here, before they leave, they said they have had so much fun. It's just because that's what we do. I mean, we make sure they have a good time. They don't. And what made us do this the second year, in between 2012, 2013, I got an email from this woman, Linda Blackwood. And she said, hey, my daughter was in the Doctor Who series. Would you want her as a guest? Her daughter is Caitlin Blackwood, Lil Amelia Pond.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I could get my breath after that, I went, yeah, but how much would it be to bring her? She just wants airfare in a hotel room, and I want airfare in a hotel room with her. And that girl came.
That's it?
She brought all the pictures, all the 8x10s. She set up on the stage. See her? She sat up there for over 2 hours signing autographs. Free
What?
for everybody. Yes. Yes.
Tell me when this stuff is happening there, boy.
That's incredible.
That's insane for a guest to want to do all of that and just be compensated just with the get me there, and I will do my thing and give your guests, the people that your attendees, one heck of a memory.
Yeah,
that is phenomenal.
Yep, she did. She posed in front of the TARDIS with as many people that wanted to pose too. I mean, there was no photo op per se, because we really, the first year or so, we didn't even really know about photo ops.
Mm-hmm.
So she stood in front of the TARDIS and let people just line up and come and have their picture taken with them from the photographer. And it was amazing. So yeah, the second year to get Caitlin Blackwood, and then we got Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah. And the funny thing with getting McCoy is that, of course, the Doctors see each other in the UK a lot at conventions and Big Finish recordings and stuff. Mm-hmm. And if I hadn't heard this from Paul McGann and then Colin Baker and then Peter Davison, I'm not sure I would have believed it. But apparently what happened is Sylvester went back and saw Paul, and they were talking about conventions they had been doing. And Sylvester told Paul, if you only do one U.S. convention, you need to do this little con in Alabama.
Ooh. So guess who we got the next year? Paul McGann.
And then Paul went back and saw Colin Baker, and as we were trying to reach out to Colin, and then Colin went back and told Peter Davison, and we were reaching out to get Peter. And it was kind of this weird chain reaction thing that happened.
But that's how you want to be known, is that your hospitality and that your brand of a convention is that welcoming, that amazing, and it's an experience that they're going to leave and go, you know what? I had fun. It was work, but as all conventions are from a business standpoint, but I had fun and I actually feel good about doing this. That is
that right there, that picture, one of the most amazing staff. Our staff members are like none other. We are family, period. And there's a couple of people in that picture that we have lost. And we just, that we don't do without our family. The four of us may plan this stuff, but they run it. They make this the success it is. I mean, we just couldn't even imagine not doing it without all those people. They're amazing.
Now, as we're getting closer to the end of the episode, Bonnie, I have one question of all convention heads I've always asked. Favorite backstage story?
Well,
Or it could also be a story that happened on stage or something that happened, but something that happened at Concave that you're like, yeah, this seals the deal. This is the moment that I want to, an experience that you weren't expecting, possibly.
Well, we've got two of them really.
Okay.
We couldn't find Sylvester McCoy for his panel. Couldn't find him anywhere.
Yeah, Saturday morning, 2014, we're gathering all the guests up, and I'm walking around, and I preface this story by saying I am in full 7th Doctor costume like you've seen in some of the pictures, because the plan is I'm going to run on stage when they announce Sylvester and act like Sylvester for about 20 seconds or something, let everybody cheer, and then go, wait a second, and then Sylvester pops out of the TARDIS and calls me an imposter, and I run out of the room. So I'm walking around gathering all the guests up, and we get to Sylvester's room, or we tell Sylvester, be in this particular point at such and such a time so we can get you to go downstairs. We couldn't. Sylvester wasn't there. Okay, we get the lobby to call Sylvester's room. Sylvester's doesn't pick up the phone in his room. Okay. Now, I am a big Classic Who fan in the knowledge of Who, and I am aware in the back of my mind that Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee both passed away at U.S. Doctor Who conventions. And I've got a doctor who won't pick up who's not where he's supposed to be. And and somebody's gone and knocked on his door. And he's not. And I'm standing outside Sylvester McCoy's room, dressed up as Sylvester McCoy, with the other con guest next to me, a member of the hotel staff trying to get the master key to open the door, wondering if I'm going to find the poor man dead in his room.
So to finish that story. Somebody comes to me. I'm downstairs. I don't know what's going on upstairs, but I don't have my guest. Somebody comes to me and goes, Sylvester McCoy's in the kitchen. Oh, what? Well, if you don't know, he used to be a vaudeville performer.
Yes.
And he plays the spoons. So he had took himself into the kitchen, walked up to the rack with all the silverware in it, was picking up spoons, tapping them together, and what he didn't use, he was dropping back in the tray. We found this out later from the kitchen. They had to rewash all the silverware because Sylvester McCoy had picked it all up trying to play spoons. So we found him in the kitchen trying to find spoons to play in his panel. And the other story,
he was going through trying to figure out which ones had the right sound.
Good. Yeah. Yep. But they had to wash all of them. The other one was Colin Baker. Go back to Matthew's story that 2 doctors have passed away at U.S. cons. VIP night, he's supposed to be there taking photo ops, nobody can find him. And in the hotel we were in, when you went in the room, there was a living room, then there was a foyer, and then there was a bedroom. You could close the door. Okay. Well, we're looking for him and nobody can find him. And I'm on the stage introducing the guest and nobody can find Colin. Well, he had gone upstairs and went to sleep, but guess who's looking for him? And guess who's thinking, oh, God, here we go again. I'm going to lose a doctor. No. And so finally from the stage, somebody opens the side door and gives me a thumbs up. They found him. And he came in the outfit, the picture you just showed. He came in that outfit in shorts and a top. Yeah. And so that's what he's in his photo ops. He had forgot there was going to be a photo op session. And that is from right to left. That's Caitlin Blackwood, my daughter, Ellie Collins. She is an actress and an author. Fraser Hines, Kelly Yates, and Colin Baker at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. That's the other thing we do for our guests. We make sure they have fun here. We take them on a tour of the Space and Rocket Center to give them some time to relax and have fun.
And that's where that picture was taken.
There's Fraser.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's still there, but this is a replica of the gondola that's in the ISS where the astronauts can float up and look out.
That so they have the space floor.
Yes. And you can sit there and pose and whatnot with it. I'm a huge space geek. I have been since I was a little kid. So there's something really cool about taking all these people from Doctor Who and science fiction stuff and taking them around a place like that. And it kind of going in science fiction meeting science fact in this really cool way.
I do want to make sure before we go, this year we have got a charity. Well, we do a charity every year, and we do a silent auction that's got all kinds of genre stuff, autograph stuff, posters. I mean, anything you could think of, any kind of genre, My Hero Academia, Doctor Who, Marvel, everything. And what our charity this year is the Madison Animal Rescue Foundation. That's local. We live, Matthew and I live in Madison, so this is a local charity. The thing we're doing this year, they need donations, and we post that they need cat food, dog food, leashes, and things like that. So I brought it just to show you. Anybody that donates, they'll fill out a little slip of paper. This is it. It's there you go. And it is $50 Visa prepaid card. So you will win that at closing ceremonies. We will, if you donate, and this charity really needs this stuff. They need the food, they need the leashes, everything. We'll post it, puppy pads, all that. We'll post that up on our website. It's on our website. We'll post it on our Facebook page. But so everybody gets a chance to win a $50 Visa gift card that will be drawn at the closing ceremonies.
And let me just run through this real fast. You can go to Kasterborous.net. You can purchase your tickets right there. As you can see, the countdown is on. 17 days left. And
watch that video and listen to David Tennant.
You're gonna make me play it.
Buy the man some sticky notes.
Best location in Huntsville. Yeah, that is a gorgeous hotel, and that is the research center location.
Holiday Inn Research Park. The thing is, everything they've built out in front of it now. There's Top Golf. There's Dave and Buster's. There's Steak and Shake. There's the Starbucks will be open by then. It is just a big, huge called Mid City. So there's, even if you're not going to a panel or something, or you need somewhere to eat, that's all right out in front of the hotel.
Yep.
And one last thing that we have not said, and it's not on the website, Legend of the Traveling TARDIS will be doing, at least for right now, between Matthew and I, 2 virtual panels that will be taking place at,
You also have not announced our largest guest.
I have not.
You have not brought up our largest guest picture.
Okay.
He is our premier guest. I've wanted him since 2012. Mr. Captain Jack Harkness himself, John Barrowman. So you brought everybody else's pictures up, but you didn't bring John. So.
Oh, okay.
And he's a lot of fun.
Not showing up in my list. I apologize.
There he is. There he
is.
I mean, he's there behind Melanie. She could have announced him for us. I see her poster.
That's right. John Barrowman will be there, and of course, he's he is a whole entertainment to himself. Again, John Barrowman will be there.
Yes.
Special guests, Eric Roberts, as you can see through the photos. Eliza Roberts, Captain Jack Harkness himself, John Barrowman, Arthur John Peel, and Kelly Yates, artists out there. We will be attending Kasterborous. Unfortunately, we won't be there, but we will be there virtually handling 2 panels. So be on the lookout for us. And Matthew and I will be setting up things so you can interact with us, and we'll be doing this live. We will be providing the service to our friends at Concave for their last ride. But we're hoping that it's not the last ride for them. Hopefully, we will see something more in the future during its regeneration. And as Bonnie mentioned, Madison ARF Animal Rescue Foundation. You can click on the link if you want to contribute. And there you go. Bonnie, is there anything else that we could talk about before you go? I know you're you got to leave. So what is?
I know one thing people have been asking us on our Facebook page. The photo ops for John Barrowman and Eric Roberts will be sold at the con. Since it was such short notice by the time we got, him announced as a guest, the photo ops will be sold at the convention.
Gotcha.
Just come and enjoy it. We'll have a good time. Everybody just come and have fun and enjoy it, because we sure do.
Awesome. Bonnie, Matthew, thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you provided to the Whovians up there in Huntsville, Alabama. And I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that later on, hopefully, that Concave sees a regeneration, and that we would love to be a big part of that regeneration when it moves forward out there. But this year we'll be holding virtual panels up there. One of them will be, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Matthew, which show should get a spinoff. from Doctor Who. Which shows, since RTD's been talking about having spinoffs, you get to interact with us and the folks over at Con K to talk about possible spinoffs so that we can present to RTD, and hopefully he's watching that day.
Yes.
Bonnie, Matthew, thank you so much. Dave, you're taking over, and we're going to go into the after party. Thank you, everyone, for staying.
Thank you so much.
For those who are watching, don't go anywhere, because we're going to continue, and we're going to be playing Doctor Who Worlds Apart. But our friends who are listening, thank you for joining us. Again, iHeartRadio, sci-fi.radio, Odyssey, Spotify, Spreaker, Podbean, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Please, you can subscribe and listen to us out there. Also, Facebook.com/The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. You see that number 67? It is very, very close to being 68. Thanks to all of you. We are just, I think, just a little bit over 100 subscribers away to being 68,000. That's a lot of people out there. Of course, you can join us on TikTok, The Traveling TARDIS, and please subscribe here at youtube.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Don't forget, like, share, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. That helps the algorithms, that helps us grow, and we appreciate everybody for coming. Again, if you're watching, stay tuned. We are going to be playing Doctor Who Worlds Apart. We're going to thank Bonnie and Matthew for coming. You guys can drop out whenever, and Dave's going to be taking over as we play the game. So right now, we're going into transition. We're going to go into our after party. Thank you so much for joining us. For those who are listening, and for those who are watching, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
So, Bonnie, Matthew, Nick, I put in our private chat in your StreamYard a different studio link. You are welcome to join us. You don't have to know how to play. You don't have to play. You can just join us and watch and ask questions if you like. For everybody else who's watching, we're going to be moving over to Twitch. Only Twitch. And I'm going to put these up right now. See, look at that. There's a little thing there, and there's a little thing there. We're going to be over on the Traveling TARDIS Twitch and my Twitch, and shortly as well, Mackenzie Floor's Twitch. And we're going to be doing some Worlds Apart. Yay for that. And I'm just going to set up things. Because when we adjust things in our studios in StreamYard, it will adjust here too. So I'm just going to do it right here while I yap. You can go over. We'll be live any moment. Where is our Worlds Apart background?
Right, and remember, this is only going to be for our Twitch viewers, so if you haven't got Twitch, go ahead and sign up. Go ahead and subscribe to all three of us, TheRatHole.ca, Traveling TARDIS, and Mackenzie Floor, because we're going to be playing the game very shortly. And if anybody wants to join, oh, there we go.
Yes.
Little
and
banner.
This has been very requested by my chat, though, of course, majority of them are in bed right now, but that's okay. They can watch it later.
They're in bed?
Yeah, they go to bed by 6 o'clock.
Who goes to bed at 6?
Those over in the, way on the other side.
Oh, okay. Way down yonder.
Yeah, I got I've got people coming from the Philippines.
Okay, fair enough. I didn't know how far that reach went.
So I'm going to go make that one live. This broadcast is going to keep running until it times itself out.
Mm-hmm.
So you leave the studio if you're not coming over either way. But this will stay on so that if anyone does join us from YouTube land, there's all of our Twitches that you can then go over and see what we're up to. I will run the Worlds Apart commercial.
There is an update, yes, from Worlds Apart.
And I will we'll go away. So I'll see you guys over on the other feed. I'm going to, before I do that, I'm going to disconnect the Traveling TARDIS feed from here right now, because that will give me an error message when I try to move over. There. And that should save. We should no longer be live on the Traveling TARDIS Twitch until I go live with the other thing. So here is the commercial for Doctor Who Worlds Apart, and I will see you guys over on Twitch.
Wow.
It's dead air time. Woo! Can't hear you, Melanie.
So quiet.
I know. Very, very quiet. It's too quiet.
We don't like that.
I don't know what's going on. Dave disappeared, and I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, God. Sorry, I was muted there and I was muted here. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
That's why I'm like,
so
"It's
we're
dead
still
air!
live.
Yay!"
Very live. Right.
So we're still live.
Yeah.
They're over there. They're on Twitch. So here's my thing.
Okay.
Because we're still live. I don't care. Matthew.
Yes.
So your convention, you're doing because that's why I started searching at stuff and kind of disengaged because I'm a horrible, horrible person. But you'll see why in a moment. You said that Bonnie had mentioned, I don't know if she's still there or not, because I think she had to.
Yeah, she had to leave. So yeah.
But you
welcome to Bonnie's chair.
Yay! Hello, Bonnie's chair. But
not the same.
You're here, so that works. Your charity, your silent auction.
Yes.
Now, the silent auction has lots of things that people are going to be bidding on, and all those, I assume, things were donated so that it can go to that particular charity.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Would you... I can donate something to help with that, even though it's a kind of a weird... It's like helping a charity kind of thing. So I have more David Tennant autographs than I can deal with. And so one of them was when I donated to a charity, I got an autograph from him. And it's on this fancy little card of his young face that his wife took a photo of. Cool. And it's a card that he signed that just says, "With best wishes from David Tennant." Now, this is because he is a patron of Headway, which is a charity out in the UK. So I made a donation, and I didn't realize it, but they sent me a nice card, and I thought that was a very, sweet thing. Like I said, I have many, many autographs. Would you want this? Maybe somebody would want to put some money towards having an autograph of David Tennant, even though it's more of a it's a charity of a charity kind of thing. Maybe it can fetch a couple bucks and get some leashes and get some dogs and cat food.
I would bet it's going to get more than a couple of bucks based on some experience in the past. I could tell another story related to Chicago TARDIS. I was up there, I want to say 2015, Chicago! I think it was. Yes. And Alex Kingston was there, and we thought, wouldn't it be cool to, because we'd reached out to her agent and tried to bring her, and the dates didn't line up. And we thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a signed photo for the auction? So, paid the money, got her to sign it. I think she said, like, "Greetings, Con K." And it was a picture of her from Let's Kill Hitler, where she's threatening the doctor with a gun, except he swapped it out for a banana. And it became a running gag on the staff. Alex Kingston signed the banana. So she wrote the stuff across the banana in the picture. So there was a whole running gag that year at the con where everybody went, "She signed the banana."
Oh my God!
And that thing, I can't remember it. I think it fetched a 3-figure sum.
No way.
So I would imagine, I would imagine a David Tennant signed thing would probably get some money. I
will happily donate.
Yeah, I will. I'll message you my address where you can send it to me.
Yeah, message me through the chat, DM me, and we can chat more of that. And then that way, anybody who's watching that's going to be going to Con Kasterborous, go there. Donate money. Help puppies and kitties and all other types of animals in the Huntsville area.
I mean, I'm an animal lover myself. If you heard a crash at the very end of the main show, it's because one of my year-old cats decided to climb on some stuff behind me and managed to knock everything over.
That's why I was muted for a while, so I understand. That's what they do.
It is indeed.
It's what they do.
I'm surprised nobody's jumped in my lap and gotten on the show, because it's what they usually like to do.
I know. I was ready to have I had the cat thing going on, ready to go, and I didn't see it. I'm like, oh man. I mean, I closed mine out, but I heard them causing a ruckus out yonder. There we go. Okay, I think everybody else now is there. I guess Dave's thing was he was just going to let this keep running with blank screens to have people go over there. Considering for some reason 14 people are still watching us. Ha! I feel now 15 people are watching us. So the rest of the Traveling TARDIS is over on Twitch playing Doctor Who Worlds Apart. We're just chatting because I have nothing else better to do. Seriously, we have we have some people saying night, guys, and they're slowly dropping off. So night. Real quick, do you still have tickets available? People can buy tickets online.
Oh yeah, register online pre-registration is open on our website through June 1st. Okay. So if you haven't bought your ticket now, get it before June 1st. We will be selling them at the door, but there may be a line. So if you want to buy it ahead of time, Bonnie talked about seed money and whatnot. Yeah, there's little bills that need to be paid here and there. So every person who pre-registers helps us pay for all sorts of little stuff that has to be done. So, the thing about a fan-run convention is that literally every dollar counts.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And it's a business. And that's the one thing a lot of people forget about when running a convention is as much as you want to say that you're not throwing a huge party, even though when you attend, you think it's like a big party. It's a big event. It's like going to a concert. It's like going to a wedding. It's like going to this. You're not throwing a party. You're throwing it's an event that it has to at least pay for itself.
Yeah.
But really it has to pay a little bit more because people's time is valuable. And as much as I like, I art and I do things like this, but maybe if I make a minimum wage, who knows? You do want to at least pay for your time, or if you're giving your time freely, you want to pay for other people's time. You want to pay at least for the pizza in the back room for the volunteers, or you want to help compensate, just say at least have those little gratifying thank yous. But you do have to pay for the hotel. You do have to pay for your space. You have to pay for all those kind of fun things. But the fun of a convention.
How much organization before this? How long have you been planning this one?
So this one, the 2023 event kind of started coming together last June. Bonnie is, and very much a case of, the convention generally was like early mid-June. So, there's every early mid-June, there's days where my Facebook memories is nothing but stuff from Con K. And people tagging me and tagging Bonnie and everything else. And that, as Bonnie said, that was the impetus for doing one last one. So the planning for this one, I mean, there was a whole series of conversations about, do we want to do this, and getting the band back together, as it were, getting the staff, and there's people who have moved away, and there's people who, because there wasn't, nobody had planned on there being a con, have other commitments now. And I have to admit, and I don't think Bonnie would be upset with me for saying this, I had a little bit of hesitation doing it because I've gone off and, I've become a writer. Well, I was writing while the con was still ongoing, but I've become published and award-winning. And speaking of which, I do have a Doctor Who story available from the wonderful folks at Candy Jar Books as part of the unit Operation Fallout. So I'm family have a story.
You're dropping in and out just a tiny bit, so it's called Operation Fallout.
Yeah, it's Operation Out, available from Candy Jar Books. They're the people who've been doing the Lethbridge Stewart and now Unit spinoff books. So please feel free to go and get it. I'm insanely excited and proud to be part of that. But I had gone off and had this whole little bit of a writer, and it was like, and I didn't want to go back into it if I couldn't dedicate the time to actually doing it and doing it right. So, but thankfully I was able to sort of work things out where I was able to do that. And I'm excited to do at least one last one. And as Bonnie said, there's talk of, a possible regeneration. And there's some people who've been talking about wanting to pick it up and carry on the Con-K legacy and the family atmosphere of it. I mean, it is very much a family, sort of a family event is the way we look at it. And for many years when we were at the Westin, especially, we had a kids room. We had a place specifically that was for, you could drop off your time tots while you went off and did other things.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
So, we try to be family friendly and all of that. So, and that's, I think, talking about fostering the next generation of fans. you got to get people when you get it something that they will enjoy, and
Right.
that's something that we aim to do. So there's a little bit of everything at the con, and talking about scheduling and panels and stuff. Obviously, Legend of the Traveling TARDIS is going to be involved with 2 of those over the weekend. But there's, covering a whole range of things, and not just Doctor Who. It is kind of British media in general. There's going to be a James Bond panel, which I'm going to be part of.
Oh, very cool.
There's a Good Omens panel that's being planned as well.
Sorry, I love Good Omens.
Yes, Mike Faber and the wonderful folks from the Earth Station Who podcast and the Earth Station One network are going to be running that. There's a Sandman panel as well. There's even going to be a Star Trek.
Are they going to be live, or are they going to be virtual?
They're going to be live. They're actually going to be at the event.
Really?
So.
I think I'm gonna have to start. Okay, hold on. Nothing. I'm just like, I know people. Maybe there's a couch I could possibly.
But they'll be there.
I have points. I have lots of miles.
Yeah, they'll be there. The 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast that Adam Pearson's been running for years and years. They've been with us since year 1. Kirby Bartlett Sloan, one of their hosts, showed up there. In fact, that's how I got into podcasting. Was I met him and he interviewed me a little bit. And
Mark Robinson seems to want your book, sir. So he wants a signed copy from if he can get a signed copy from in the UK.
Well, this is where things get fun. So Candy Jar is in the UK and I am here in Alabama. Mark, I am on Facebook. Reach out to me either through my author's page, Matthew Kressel, or my personal Facebook page. And we'll figure something out for me to do that, because I will have to get another copy of the book sent to me from the UK to sign to them, mailed to you in the UK. But I would be, we'll discuss details and arrangements. I'd be delighted. Why are people asking me for my autograph? Good Lord.
Because you're famous now. Congratulations. Enjoy it.
It sounds like you should do an international book tour.
I know, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Dan Holyfield says writing is fun, even though it is work. But it's fun.
Yeah,
work.
it's fun work.
It's fun work.
Yeah. It is.
So that's okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off when you were speaking. I'm like, I saw all of a sudden saw, is that a unit story? I want a copy. I'm like, oh, commerce. Click.
Yep.
Like,
yeah. Or, all else fails, go buy it from Candy Jar, and I will, you can mail it to me and I will mail it back to you, and we will figure out the joys of international shipping that way, because it is.
Pirateship.com if you're in the U.S. If you're within the U.S., pirateship.com. That's the best way to get the best rates and to mail things, FYI.
Yeah.
Some of the rates are better than what I can get at work, and we have actual UPS and FedEx accounts.
Oh, wow. I Book Depository recently closed, and Book Depository was a godsend because they were based in the UK and they did free worldwide shipping. And they were when I first got into Doctor Who, I got into Big Finish very quickly, and I didn't realize you could buy stuff from Big Finish's site for like 4 or 5 years. So I would go there every 2 weeks on a payday and go buy a couple of Big Finish CDs and have them shipped from the UK here. So I miss them very much. They went out of business earlier this year. And in fact, one of the last things I bought from them, and I'll just mention it because it's sitting on my desk, is the UK edition of one of the James Bond books. So
The Man from Barbarossa.
Yes. Random off topic, because it's James Bond, not Doctor Who. So apparently,
why not? It's the after party. We do whatever we want. It's the 3 of us.
Fair enough. If you're a
thing.
James Bond, if you're a James Bond fan and a literary James Bond fan, here's some trivia for you. The U.S. publisher of the Bond books in the late 80s, early 90s got very frustrated with John Gardner when he wrote this one, because he decided to be a bit more experimental and not stick to the standard Bond formula. So the story is that the U.S. edition was edited quite heavily to try and make it fit to the formula. So the UK version of it is the one that's the full text, which I only discovered a few months ago, and this was in fact the very last thing I bought from Book Depository before they shot down, and I still have not read it.
Is there a significant page count difference between the two?
Well, the problem with that is I have the U.S. hardcover from 1991 when it was published, which is not comparable between the two. And I have learned from a friend of a friend who does have the U.S. edition of it, with that cover, that Amazon's listing at the page count, the actual page count of the book are different. So there may be a page count difference. It's kind of hard to tell. But something I do want to do is sit down with my 2 copies of the book and go through it and go, okay, that's missing.
Read it twice.
That's missing. Yeah. I mean, I've read it twice before because, I have hear me bore. But it's but yeah, the international shipping is fun to deal with.
Yes. Yes, as Mark has the comment from Mark is that I know about mailing from the UK because he keeps sending me chocolate and then I try sending him stuff as well. So that's always just a joy. Just also with my Etsy shop, it's hello tariffs. If you're doing something a little bit more from a business standpoint, it's going, okay, so I will need your tariff code, please. You're like, okay, fine. All that kind of all that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that till I bought from Sean Longmore, who's an artist. He works with Big Finish a lot, but he's also a James Bond fan. I have some of his James Bond artwork sitting in frames, not hung up yet because I am too lazy to do that apparently. And I
halfway there. You're fine.
Yeah, I bought some of his artwork last year and had to pay international shipping. So, touche, sir. Touche.
I know the beautiful white wall here. Yeah.
But if you wanted to do green screen effects, you could without having to worry about bleed through those.
Talk about lazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, laziness comes in handy sometimes. So,
It's nice, clean slate. Dan Holyfield says, we did that shipping around the world for autographing with some Larry Niven books. The idea was for all the people in the Niven mailing list to autograph it for Larry himself. It vanished in shipping.
That doesn't, that's a shame. That doesn't surprise me, though. I've been lucky. I've only had, I think, one thing from the UK disappear over the years. And what sucked about that was it was $100 and something purchase of a bunch of Doctor Who books from from a seller on eBay. And it included a couple of the rare Wilderness era titles. And he had tracking on it. We know it left the UK. But apparently it never entered the US postal system. So I'd like to think that somewhere at the bottom of the Atlantic is a package of Doctor Who books that somebody will find one day.
It's stuck behind a rolling area. One of those kind of like if you think about Monsters Inc., where it has all the doors everywhere, except it's all the packages, that kind of mail, like all those little rolling kind of chutes everywhere. It's somewhere that's fallen off a chute and it's just on the floor. Bing, where somebody can't get to it safely. It's like, that's where it is.
And sadly, that thing kind of happens. One of my favorite Doctor Who writing stories is, and I can't remember offhand now which writer it is from the Wilderness era. There was a time when Virgin Books was taking submissions because the show was off the air. There wasn't a whole lot of supervision. They could recruit new writers. And I can't remember which writer who eventually got published and wrote a bunch of Doctor Who stuff it was. But their sample manuscript pitch thing they sent in got lost behind a thing in the Virgin offices, and somebody cleaning the office one day found it and read it and went, maybe we should get this guy to write for us.
Oh my Lord, that's incredible.
Yeah,
first of all, but that they found it and we're like, oh well, let's go ahead and keep reading it away.
Yeah.
So
the
adage of better late than never, I guess.
Indeed.
That's insane. We have a question for you, Matthew, and from Mark Robinson, and that is, Matthew, what is your favorite unit story? His is Battlefield.
Ooh, Battlefield's a good one. Favorite unit story. I'm gonna say Inferno, which is, I guess, tangentially a unit story because 2/3 of it take place in a parallel universe where all the unit people from the early Third Doctor era are fascists and unit doesn't actually exist. But I adore that story to no end. It's a brilliant story, and it's one of those 7-parters from that first Pertwee season that actually works in terms of the length of one. I mean, they all do. I mean, Silurians is, it's got that whole plague subplot that gets it there. And Ambassadors of Death is just, it's Quatermass and James Bond, Doctor Who blender, and it really works.
Yeah.
In terms of like regular unit stories, probably the Daemons, actually. I mean, I know that's like the cliche answer for anybody with unit Third Doctor, what's your favorite story? But the Daemons, I mean, it is the quintessential Third Doctor story. There's a reason why it was the favorite.
Let's say, people are picking it for a specific, are picking it because it clearly is something that's leaps and bounds over other ones that come to mind. Or at least it has that impact where they're like, what's your favorite one? And like, oh, this one, even because even if it's something as simple as it's stuck in their memory for so long, clearly that impact was there, and the mind grapes kind of went, we're not letting go. Unfortunately, I don't see any others. Not.
I mean, Battlefield.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Battlefield.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say Battlefield is a wonderful story. I mean, it was the last unit story of Classic Who. It's the opening story of that final McCoy season. And there's just some wonderful ideas. I'm a sucker for legend stuff anyways. And it's a whole thing tying in with that. And the Brigadier coming back is this kind of, sort of vaguely Arthurian once and future Brigadier thing. There's the whole new Brigadier in the form of Bambera, played by Angela Bruce, who's now got her own Big Finish spinoff series, which is actually being overseen by a writing buddy of mine, Robert Valentine. So it's one of those things. It's the Doctor Who's legacy just keeps going on, and Unit's a big part of that.
One of our YouTube watchers, Roger Andrew Bautista, says in regards to what Dan was talking about, it's like we had some package thieves being caught on our cameras. Our neighbors lost $200 worth of packages. Shake my head, and that's even. I don't know what would be worse is if you have all these things in transit and all of a sudden it's lost, or just when it finally makes it to your door, someone else takes it. And you know damn well those people have no idea what the heck they have or the worth of it. Yeah. It's like, why couldn't you just left it there? And there's no way in heck I would have mailed
just take a peek inside and leave it,
I know. It's like just something, could you look at it and take a look-see or no?
I mean,
we did have that once. We had that once where a package disappeared, and we're like, "Great, it was fondant. Good job. You needed 25 pounds of fondant to make a cake with. Good job, people. I don't know what you're gonna do with this." And 2 days later, it came back. It was back on our doorstep. Was the package looked like it had been opened and retaped, but with the contents inside completely still sealed.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard stories along those lines, and it's like, that I don't understand porch pirating for a start, because it is literally a crap show, about what in the world you're going to get, which is why I love the video. I can't think of the guy's name. He actually built a glitter bomb fart spray thing, makes it look like a package that sat on his porch. People would go and grab it, and he actually had iPhones built into it to record them, and watching people just glitter flying and fart spray going and going, oh my god, and throwing the thing out the window. And I don't understand people like that, but so just like
Mark says that in Auburn, where they filmed Demons is the home of the band, is the home to the Band of Brothers. So I'm assuming that's the Band of Brothers series from the miniseries from HBO, which is phenomenal. If you ever watched it, watch it.
It is very good.
He says it's best to check your packages often every day. I have the Ring doorbell, and my husband works from home, and there's times where somebody will drop, or I'll get Amazon will notify me if a package has arrived, and I see the photo, it's arrived, and I'll text my husband and be like, door, go get it, please leave your office to go get it, please. I desperately need that utensil set I ordered, but I want it. I paid the $7 for it, so go get it. And one more is, I've always wanted to leave an old Amazon box full of dog poop and cat poop on my porch while we went on vacation to see if it was still there when we got home. LOL. I recall a story my mother once said, and this is back showing my age. But for her, I think it was during the 70s, and she was living in New York, and that was during a garbage waste management strike. And she said that she remembers herself and also other people. They would keep their car windows rolled down, when you actually had a crank on them, and they would put their trash in and gift wrap it and leave it in the back. That way, people would just take it, and they were getting rid of their trash that way. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, they were working the system a little bit. It's like you need to get rid of your trash some way. I guess that works. That's awesome.
Yeah. New York is a strange place anyways. I mean, there's a story from the 77 New York blackout that people broke into. There was looting and whatnot as well, and shops being broken into. People broke into the Natural History Museum there in New York, and they stole the brass railing set up there in the museum. But they left all of the diamonds and jewels and stuff in their cases with alarms not working and everything else. They left all of that off with them.
It makes me wonder if they were just like, they were, I don't know, very conscientious thieves. They were like, oh, well, I can at least, the brass, that fetches me how much money a pound, and this is kind of heavy, so all right. Or they have that somewhere, and we will watch an episode of American Picker somewhere, and you're like, what's this big round brass ball for? That's kind of weird. It's a finial on something. You realize, oh, it came from the Natural History Museum. Old grandpa stole it because he was like, I ain't got nothing else better to do. It's dark and it's hot out, so let's go to the museum for a while.
Yeah. I mean, human beings are weird. I mean, there's also a story, Titanic, the sinking of the Titanic is one of my many interests. And there's a story from one of the artifact expeditions in the 90s where they went down and recovered stuff, and they picked up somebody's bag and they brought it up and they opened it, and it was full of random stuff from throughout the ship, and they couldn't understand why. And they eventually figured out that as the ship was sinking, and they figured out because people's names were on a couple of things, and they figured out where the cabins were and those people had been in. They figured out somebody was carrying that bag, running through the ship as it was sinking, stealing stuff from people's room to take off the ship. And the fact that the bag ended up at the bottom of the Atlantic suggests that somebody didn't get off the ship, or they lost their loot in the process.
Probably. Oh my Lord, that's seriously. It's like, well, might as well. I mean, maybe if I get off the ship, let's see what happens. But oh my God, because at first when you said bag, I was thinking it was the infamous bag that was just sold, the violin that was just sold. I think it was like Christie's or Sotheby's at some point of the. Of course, my brain can't remember his name. The violinist that was the head
Wallace Hartley. something
engagement
like
piece.
that. Yeah,
because it was something engraved on the small little on the neck. I'm not sure what the pieces of a violin are, but like just underneath where, like not the neck stock, but it's just where at the very bottom where the strings are kind of are connected. There's a piece there that you can engrave on, and it was something along the lines. It was a gift to him from his fiance, something like that. So when you first said bag, I'm like, I kind of know. I know some Titanic-y kind of stuff. Let's see. A couple more comments. Is our city might issue a lot of us. Our city might issue us a lot of citation tickets if we did that, Stan. The cat and putting stuff into the Amazon boxes. And he responded, I live out in the country, so no one would know. But we are now at the hour and 40 mark. This is typically the end of an after party, even though we just kept going anyway, because these people at the very end, they're on Twitch right now playing Doctor Who Worlds Apart. So if you have nothing else better to do and you want to go ahead and watch some people learn how to play Doctor Who Worlds Apart, go on ahead and go to Twitch. You can go to either Christian's, you could go to Dave's, or you can go to Mackenzie's channel. They're all streaming it right now. I just made a channel, but the bad thing is Doctor Who Worlds Apart will not run on my antiquated Mac, and I have to still get my laptop set up and all this other kind of fun stuff. And if you would like to know what a mess looks like, I could turn my camera around and show you my office, but I'm not going to do that. So with that, I think we can go ahead and close this down. Again, Matthew Kressel from, let me go ahead. I would love to get rid of this so I could actually show everybody's thing, but from Kasterborous. Matt, what is your socials? How could people find you?
So I am on Facebook. Just search Matthew Kressel. My author's page is facebook.com/KresselWrites. I am occasionally still on Twitter. I haven't been on there much since back in the autumn. At Kressel Writes on there. I write for Sea Lion Press, which is an alternate history publisher. I have a fairly regular blog. I'm working right now on a series looking at various Big Finish lost stories that were written for the show back in the day and weren't produced until they became audio dramas in the 2000s and 2010s. So, you can find me on all those places. And for that matter, if you Google my name, you'll probably find me somewhere.
Woohoo! Now, everybody, below me here is Nick. Nick, where can everybody find you and all the fun stuff that you do?
You can find me at Nick Smith Films, or you can check out Cosmic Mask, which I edit. And actually, John Peel, one of your Concay guests, he wrote for the very first Cosmic Mask back in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
It would be cool to meet him. Yeah, so you can Google me too, but there's so many Nick Smiths out there. Who knows who you'll end up with?
Look for this. You want to look for this face, or again, Cosmic Mask. And for our U.S. people, it's not M-A-S-K, it's M-A-S-Q-U-E. Correct?
Fancy, yes.
It's all fancy. So make sure you're googling it correctly. You never know what's going to be popping back up. I am Melanie Dean. You can find me at Pieces of Melee, M-E-L-E-E. I'm mostly on Instagram, all of everything out there, Instagram, Facebook, all those kind of fun stuff, Twitters. You can find me at Pieces of Melee. I am trying to get my butt in gear for more art. I will be at San Diego Comic-Con in July. Beginning to wonder if whether or not I can squeeze a June thing into a certain person's convention. We'll see if I can't just show up. Who knows if I can bunk in somebody's couch, because I know now that I know some of my friends are going. But other than that, I'll be at San Diego Comic-Con in July 17th through 23rd, or it's 19th through 23rd. It's one of those dates. Otherwise, the following weekend, I'll be at Tampa Bay Comic-Con. All again, selling my wares and trying to paint as fast as I can. Once again, thank you everyone for watching us on The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Go check out Twitch if you're still in that mood of, I don't have anything else better to do and want to watch some Doctor Who fun. Otherwise, have a good night, everybody. See you later.
All right.
And